So the biggest thing out there right now, and I saw three different articles with three different takes, believe it or not. Oh my God, how could that possibly happen? From three different portals, homes.com, Zillow, and realtor.com. They all had their own take on what's going on. And the problem with the takes that they're the way that they report these sort of things and the way that it gets into the social media matrix and where wherever you're watching this is that the keywords, algorithms, buzzwords, and the one that always keeps hitting is Florida, 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 Florida. The problem with that is that Florida is an awfully big state. Number one, Florida is a very people will get very surprised when they go, okay, we're in Florida, when they're coming down from Georgia, and then they got to drive another 10 hours to get down to South Florida, or whatever that happens to be, and it's usually damn near that. So the reality is this: there are parts of South Florida that are deluged with listings, that the market is very, very depressed. That there's parts of Southwest Florida that have 10 months worth of inventory on the market. There are parts of Miami, mainly condos, that are at 10 months. There are parts of near the Big Bend. Here's a perfect example. So if you go up to the Panhandle, parts of Pensacola or the Pensacola market is really super slow right now, and you got tons of listings. But if you go, literally just outside of that market, the market's swinging. So hard to tell. So the reality about the reporting for the Florida market is that you have to be more hyper local. I work in what would be considered two different markets. I have the Tri-County area, basically, which typically is Palm Beach, Broward, and Miami-Dade. Although I kind of skip Miami-Dade, but we move north one county and do a lot of St. Lucie, and their Martin County is a little sliver up there too. We do business in those areas, and the market in this area is completely different than the market in a lot of different parts of Florida. We're slow. It's definitely a buyer's market. Don't get me wrong. But we're right now just approaching, I believe it's, about 5 months, 5.5 months to 6 months on the market. And that is, it's building. We could get to where they are, but it doesn't seem to be working that way. We still got buyers buying. Things are still moving, whereas in some of those areas, things are just not moving at all. And then I also have the Monroe County, which is the Florida Keys market. And down there, quite frankly, it's been slow for, I'm going to say probably a year and almost a year and a half now, because the COVID craze is when everybody moved down there. And the reality is, down there, nobody really has to move to the Keys. You move there because you want to be there. So it's a different market. It's more of a secondary market, right? The most important thing, I think, is, if you're looking to buy in those areas, and even if you're looking to sell in those areas, is you get somebody that understands what's going on in your market. And it's basically hyper local. It's not the Florida market. If you were to try to define the Florida market the way that they are on all these portals and where you get all the news from, you could have 7 or 8 different answers, because it is literally that big of a state, and the different local markets are literally performing that differently. Okay. There's parts of the United States right now where you can't buy a house. That's the other thing too, which, I don't, I rarely see that part of it, but there are markets in the United States where I know for a fact that you cannot get a house because they don't have any on the market, and they're going just like that. I deal with, over the last 20 years, I've built up a pretty good referral network all over the United States. So I deal with people from all corners of the United States, and even some international. But if you're looking for real estate information, you have to look for it. In some cases, it's a zip code, right? In some cases, it's a county. In some cases, it's a city. In some cases, it's a region. But particularly in Florida, you can't look at the news as a whole and expect it's going to relate at all to wherever you happen to be looking. There'll be pieces of it that will, but for the most part, you really need to look, hyper local. And in this market, even in Palm Beach County, there's 3 zip codes clumped together. They're performing one way. There's 2 other zip codes over here. They're performing completely opposite. So make sure you get with somebody that knows the market that can explain it to you. And the same thing with your selling, because most of the time, buyers and sellers, you guys are probably buyers and sellers, or else you wouldn't be watching real estate videos. You're looking at, all these, as much information as you can get. And if you're a realtor.com, efficient, or Zillow, you're only getting what they're giving you. And it's typically not a very good, concise picture of your hyperlocal market. All right. And that's basically the 100-foot view. If there's specific things that you would like to hear about, please leave a comment below. I'll be more than happy to answer your questions on our next filming here. And, if that is a particular location, if it's a particular style of property, condo, single family home, stuff like that, we're here for you.